Having a child in a poor family is tantamount to throwing the child into a hellishly difficult game right out of the gate. Why do so many people now think they can get by without having children? In fact, most people in history were unable to leave offspring. If you look at the Chinese lineage charts through the ages, you'll see that it was always the descendants of the nobles who branched out, and the small families at the end of the nobility who gradually became commoners, not the commoners themselves who had children and continued to be commoners, as one might Otherwise, think. Why would there be so many people claiming that their ancestors were a prestigious family? Because their ancestors were indeed wealthy. As a matter of fact, in the long history, most of the commoners died due to famine, war, corvée, and taxes before they gave birth. In other words, the vast majority of commoners in the Warring States period were extinct by However, this did not affect the course of civilization as a whole, as the class of children of aristocrats slipped since childhood, taking up the burden of the poor. As they say, in modern times, the rich don't last 3 generations. The rich will slide down in class, and the poor will not last more than 3 generations, and the poor will break off the generation. Counterintuitively, the pattern of continuity of our society's offspring is not linear, but rather, it is a continuous overflow from the top, and once you are banished to the bottom, you are on the verge of extinction. And it is difficult for you to climb up the ladder on your own, unless you are in a chaotic time when a new system is created or you are lucky, and this is not intrinsically related to the social system. As long as there is an unequal distribution of resources and a hereditary wealth, the continuity of this overflow from the top will not be changed. As long as resources are unevenly distributed and wealth is hereditary, this pattern of continuity of overflow from the top will not change, and this is especially true in today's class-centered situation. Therefore, giving birth to a child as a poor person is tantamount to placing the child in a hellishly difficult opening, and the poorer the harder it is, the more difficult it is. From the perspective of the child, it is fine if the child is dull and insensitive, and the child will pass through a life of hard work in no time. However, if the child is intelligent, it is the beginning of his or her painful life, because he or she needs to spend a lifetime to understand and eliminate the injustice of this intergenerational transfer, and is very likely to lose in the cruel social competition for various reasons other than his or her own. From your own point of view, not having children can at least focus your limited resources on yourself, so that you can fight for your own life, or allow yourself to enjoy a high quality of life as much as possible in the limited time. From the perspective of social responsibility, if you do not have children and I do not have children, there will be rich people who will have 3 children in 4 years and have high-quality children. Human reproduction never stops, and the underlying automatic intergenerational break is just a clever program. Of course, you may say that human beings have been like this for generations and there has never been any fairness. People live to endure injustice, but that was before. Modern society's education on freedom and equality has destined our descendants to be mentally unable to tolerate such injustice, and there are many self-destructive people among them. Therefore, if you feel that you are unfortunate to be alive, you don't need to pass this misfortune on to the next generation, and most likely you won't be able to do so. If you have a child, it is only for personal experience. If you have a child simply for the love of parenthood and you are able to ensure that the child grows up healthy, then I wholeheartedly support you having a child, showing that you are one of the relatively fortunate people of our time. I expect there will be many people who will counter me with the argument that modern society has abundant resources, is more resilient to risk than ancient times, and doesn't experience the mass deaths of civilians that occurred in ancient societies, and so everyone is able to leave behind offspring. My view is that there are a plethora of variables in society, and the key to modern society's move towards depopulation lies in the inequitable distribution of social resources and the psychological changes it causes. The fact that the human race has had enough resources to feed everyone since time immemorial, yet the population at the bottom continues to decline, cannot be explained by the sufficiency of resources alone. Most of the world's problems were structural rather than aggregate. Well, that's all I have to share for this installment. If you like my program, remember to like the attention collection. With your encouragement, I will continue to work hard.